Hey guys, this is Nikhil. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are having a good day. Well, markets are being crazy, absolutely blood everywhere I look at. Fear and greed index at its lowest. I think it came down to 18 or 10 the other day, but it's still like 19, which is really bad. Bitcoin hovering around 38k. It's just bad. It's just bad. It's just blood everywhere, guys. It's just it's very heartbreaking to see Bitcoin drop like this. But I'm not, to be honest, I'm not too worried. I'm looking at Bitcoin for the long term, and I'm definitely not concerned about. Yes, short term, yes, I'm a little concerned the way it's dropping, but in the long term, I'm not too bothered because I'm gonna still buy Bitcoin. I'm gonna buy it at all these levels. If it comes down to 36, I'll buy it. If it comes down to 31 or 30k, I'm still gonna buy it because I believe in this for the long term, right? Okay, so why did the markets drop today, right? So it's been building up for some time now. As you know, Fed is planning to increase the rate. There are rumors. JP Morgan is saying they may increase 4 times in the year. Uh, there's a lot of discussion in the market, a lot of fear in the market that if Fed increases the rates, are overvalued, and that's why they need to sell and move into more growth stocks. Right, that's why we are seeing this massive drop. And today, especially today, Nasdaq had crazy drop. It had about 10%, almost 10% drop from its high. Right, and it's very unusual to see the traditional markets to dump like this. Today, I think it had about 9% or something. It's pretty bad. Usually, traditional markets don't take a plunge like this. It probably 1 or 2% itself is massive, but it really did drop a lot. Few reasons were some of the earnings that came out. Peloton was one of the biggest shock. Well, I wouldn't say it was a shock. Everybody knew Peloton, um, with COVID ending and people going back to work. Stocks like Peloton are extremely overvalued. But then the shock came to the market was Peloton came out today and said that they're going to stop production of certain products and they're looking at laying off some people. So that kind of shook the market, right? And look at Peloton, it I think came down 24%, yeah, 28%. That's like unseen in traditional markets. It's in crypto world. Obviously, we see this every day in and out, but in a traditional market perspective, this is massive, right? So as I said, there's been massive fear in the market. Even the bond treasury, 10-year treasury, even though it had a bit of a pullback. So remember, if treasury goes up, this 10-year treasury yield goes up, then the bond prices are crashing, which means Fed has to do something to manage the inflation. So this is more of a good indicator of where we are heading from an inflation perspective. If it comes down, means which is a good sign overall, right? So today, though it had a bit of a drop because of all the earnings. Even Netflix came out with their earnings and they said their subscribers is not as expected as they were expecting more subscribers in the next couple of quarters. Their forecast has not been great, and that has also pushed the market's fear more, right? So these obviously will have, you might be wondering why should Bitcoin be worried about these things. But one thing's important, you got to always remember that Bitcoin always follows Nasdaq. It's still correlated to Nasdaq and it is considered as a risk on asset, and all of these such news will obviously have a massive impact, right? Also, there's been a lot of fear around the head and shoulders pattern. There's been this head and shoulders pattern that happened back last year. It did have this head and shoulders. Everybody predicted that if it breaks this neckline, then it's going to go down to 15k. It never happened. It went back up. And similarly, right now we are still having the same kind of pattern, and the neckline is from a weekly chart perspective, it is still holding. If this closes below, if the week closes below 40k, then we can see a massive down, from technical perspective, right? So it may come down to 30k or below that, right? So this one tells me it might come down to 22, which I don't know. It might be possible, it might not be possible, but I strongly believe that Bitcoin's ultimate bottom is probably at 30k, and we may not even see 30k. I think we might hover around this, and we might go up, right? The ultimate bottom is around 30k. Is the reason I'm saying this is a lot of institutions have bought Bitcoin around 30k. Just Tesla has bought it around 30k. So in my head, at least, this is probably the ultimate bottom. We may not come here. I have a feeling that in the next couple of months, I think sometime in March, we may go back up. I'll tell you why. So I'll walk you through some of the news items for today, and let's discuss some bullish as well as bearish news. Let's start off with Jeremy Grantham's outlook for this year. If you don't know who Jeremy is, he was the co-founder of GMO, which is investment hedge fund, investment fund, and it's pretty popular as well. And Jeremy has been very good over the years in calling out bubbles. Well, if you read his article here, you may really think the world is going to come to an end. I do not completely agree with him. So he's saying, he predicts a 50% drop in the overall equity market. He goes on to say we might have a correction of almost $35 trillion in the US alone, right? So this is something that he's looking at. He feels that the long-term trend has broken, and we might have massive corrections in Nasdaq and S&P 500. Whilst I don't agree with most of these points, because I feel today's companies, the likes of Microsoft, the likes of Apple, the likes of Tesla, these companies are far more matured and far more stronger than the dot-com bubbles of 2000s, right? So and if you see, the world is moving towards being more digital, right? So when world is moving towards digital, there's more value for technologies, there's more demand for technology, and I feel Nasdaq may have a bit of a correction, but not as much as this guy is saying. But what I like about him, what he's saying is, he's calling out saying, under these conditions, traditional 60-40% portfolio of stocks offset by bonds. Usually people hedge funds keep 60% stocks and 40% bonds. He feels bonds are also in a bubble. So he's saying this is absolutely useless. He advises selling US equities in favor of stocks trading at cheaper valuations in Japan and emerging markets. All right, okay. Owning resources for inflation protection, holding some gold and silver, right? So this is more important for me. So he's talking about gold and silver. He obviously doesn't believe in Bitcoin, and as all of you know, Bitcoin is digital gold. If the money pours into gold at some point, if this happens and if it pours into gold, believe me, it will pour into Bitcoin. Okay, this is exactly what happened in 2020. It will continue to happen. So Bitcoin over time will eat up gold's market cap, and that's going to happen. If not now, maybe in 10 years or 20 years from now, right? So just if you don't believe me, if you have kids, if you have younger siblings, to go and ask them, will they invest in Bitcoin or will they invest in gold? I can see younger generation interested more in Bitcoin, NFTs and cryptocurrencies than anything else. So purely on that perspective, I think Bitcoin will become more of a risk-off asset this year, and that transition will happen this year, and I'm pretty sure of it. We might see some correction, yes, but Bitcoin will move into a risk-off asset, and that will probably be the stepping stone to move gold from its current valuation, right? Anyway, that's those are my thoughts around this article. The second one is Bloomberg is calling the bottom is near. They believe that 30 to 40k is probably the bottom, between 30 to 40k range, and I believe so too. And because the reason being, the weekly RSI is at its bottom, right? I think they feel that it might bottom out. I feel probably we might come down to 30k, I don't know, but in the next couple of months we may see Bitcoin going back on its way back up, right? So that's my prediction, but let's see how things go. In other news, Australia has been doing some some plans around crypto, in terms of bringing in some regulations, some really good ones actually. So they're looking at bringing some licensing aspect in the crypto market. They're looking at bringing in decentralized autonomous organization entity into Australian corporate law. This is quite good actually. This will help the Australian government or Australian people from Australia to open to decentralized finance. This to me is quite bullish, because it'll educate everyday Joe in Australia on what cryptocurrencies are, what DeFi is, and what is DAO is, right? And the last one I'm very interested is the tax office is looking at bringing in a more clearly definable capital gain or loss. I'm hoping, with so much of bullish news. In fact, remember, CBA, Commonwealth Bank of Australia, is the largest bank in Australia. It is like State Bank of India in India. Okay, so these guys are going to be giving allowing their customers to buy cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and Ethereum, on their wallet. So it's still, obviously it's not yet out, but literally it's not government owned, but it used to be a government owned bank a few decades ago. A bank of that stature getting into cryptocurrency is extremely bullish to me, right? So yeah, so this is some couple of nice things. Yes, I know regulations bring a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear, but looks like the way these guys are positioning the regulations, it might be more favorable to the crypto market, right? So the next news, it's highly speculative, but I'll still say this. Turkey and El Salvador's leaders meet to boost ties. Well, as we all know, President Nayib Bukele is a huge supporter of Bitcoin, and coincidentally, President Erdogan doesn't like Bitcoin at all. He hates Bitcoin. Having said that, if you have been watching news, Turkish lira has been dumping like anything. Inflation they're in a hyperinflation environment right now, and I'm 100% sure they're talking about how to get Bitcoin into Turkey. Even if he wasn't convinced earlier, probably it might happen that Bukele might convince him in this meeting. So it's just speculative, but these meetings are definitely important when you're looking at Bitcoin, right? Couple of other news. I'm probably moving on to NFTs. If you like soccer, you must have heard this guy Neymar. He has bought a new Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT. He already had one, and he's bought one more. Well, this is pretty exciting because more and more celebrities getting into NFTs will boost its price, and I've always been very bullish on NFTs. Go and check out Weave platform. I've spoken about it a few times. In my head, at least, that's one of the coolest platform that is available there, and all the NFTs are licensed by the likes of Marvel, Disney, a lot of other well-known companies out there, right? And Facebook is trying to use they're trying to use a feature to validate your NFTs. Okay, so they Twitter has just done it. So Facebook is also trying to implement a feature on Facebook or Instagram where you can validate your NFTs, right? So as I said, as I've always been saying, NFTs are going to be more of a digital status symbol. These kind of integrations will make a huge difference to the NFT market, right? On the flip side of it, Mr. Elon Musk is not very impressed with NFTs. He's just come out on Twitter saying this is annoying. So he's looked up the latest integration from Twitter, where you can integrate your NFT as your profile picture. And he said Twitter is spending engineering resources on this bullshit, while crypto scammers are throwing up a spam bot block party in every thread. Well, I agree from the scammers perspective, but this is pretty cool. If you don't believe in crypto, if you, I mean, it sometimes I can't understand people who believe in Dogecoins but don't believe in NFTs. Well, everyone is allowed to have their own viewpoints, but in my view at least, you always need to try out something in the crypto world. You should not write it off saying it's rubbish, right? Anyway, so I found this to be a little funny because he is a huge supporter of Dogecoin and he finds NFTs as BS. Well, he's anyway. So moving on to the next point. Look, I think the next big day for me to see the crypto markets to have massive bullish, hopefully bullish news would be on Feb 10th. So Feb 10th, we will see the CPI data releasing in the US. If the CPI data comes lower than expected, or if it's softer, then we might see the cryptocurrencies and all Nasdaq going up. If it comes even more higher than last time, which was at 7%, and then we can see more pain, right? I don't know for how long this pain is going to go. I'm guessing somewhere between February and March we might see a bit of softer inflation numbers, and that might make the Fed will definitely increase the rates this year. But if we see some decent CPI data, then they might be a little dovish, at least for the beginning of the year, and that might actually calm the markets down. All right, so that's all I had for today. I didn't want to make any DeFi video today. I just thought I'll give you a market updates. If you like content like these, just let me know in the comments below. Happy to make more of these contents. I keep reading a lot. I keep looking at the news. I keep trying to understand the economics of the world and how it's impacting Bitcoin. If you are keen on understanding these things, I'm happy to give you more insights into these topics. Alright, so if you did like this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to this channel. Until next time, have a fantastic day.